You know what? All of the canon movies I reviewed so far, they've had crazy stories. They've had big time actors. They've had excessive violence, wild stories. But today's movie, it's just over the top. Roll my intro. What's going on, friends and fans? It's Big Rob with a special middle of the week for no apparent reason episode of Big Rob's House of Entertainment. Absolutely no Chinese food. I have been pressured, and I finally decided to give in to the peer pressure, and I'm getting back on my Canon film reviews. Just a quick recap. Canon Films was created back in the 70s and 80s. They did a lot of B-level action and adventure and sci-fi and thriller type movies. They helped launch the career or make bigger stars of people like Dolph Lundgren, Jean-Claude Van Damme, Sylvester Stallone, Chuck Norris. Action stars that, names that are synonymous with the action genre, right? I bought a box set a while back, and I've been working my way through the box set. I am on number 7, and this week we're going to talk about the 1987 movie with Sylvester Stallone, Over the Top. I watched this one from my box set on DVD. You can find the box set. I'm sure you can find it fairly easily if you just want to watch the movie. It's on Tubi. It's only like an hour and a half long. It's a very short movie. So basically, we run down the players. You got Sylvester Stallone. He plays Lincoln Hawk. Lincoln Hawk is the main character protagonist. Sylvester Stallone, you know him. He's Rocky. He's Rambo. He's Cobra. Expendables. Action movie extraordinaire. Robert Loggia, I'm probably saying that name wrong. Anyway, he plays Jason Cutler. He's kind of the antagonist in the movie. He was in the Independence Day movies. He was in Big. He was in Scarface. Tons and tons of movie and TV show roles. He's that guy that you watch in a movie and you go, hey, I know that guy from that other movie, but I don't remember his name. And then you see him in that other movie and you go, hey, that's that guy from that other movie that we just see the other day. That's this guy. Great character, great actor, good dude. Christina Hawk was played by Susan Blakely. She has been in a ton of different TV shows, a bunch of movies. Nothing that I looked up that I was like super familiar with that I could say you would know her from this. So, just go check her IMDb page out if you're interested. Michael Cutler was played by David Mendenhall. This dude has been in a bunch of stuff too. Most noteworthy for me, he's done voice acting. He was Daniel Witwicky in the Transformers cartoons. He was voices in G.I. Joe cartoons. He was in the Centurions cartoons. He's done a lot of acting as well, but his voice work is what I picked up on. Bull Hurley was played by Rick Zumwalt. He was the tattooed strongman in Batman Returns from the Red Triangle Circus or something like that. I don't know. He's been in a few other things too. He's a big dude. That's kind of the main characters. One notable that I have to add in here is Rucker, maybe, I don't know. The bodyguard for Jason Cutler was played by the great Terry Funk. You don't know who Terry Funk is? It probably means you've never watched professional wrestling. Terry Funk was one of the greatest WWF, WCW, ECW, the old territories. He's one of the Funk brothers. He passed away last year, sadly. Terry Funk, hardcore legend. Great wrestler. It was cool to see him in just a movie. He's been in a few other movies. It's not like it's his only one, but it was cool seeing him in there because first time I seen him, I was like, hey, I know that dude, but I don't know why I know that dude because he wasn't suplexing anybody, right? Anyway, so, okay, that's the players. All right, so here's the movie. It's a real simple movie, like all of the Cannon films are. It's a real simple, basic premise. Sylvester Stallone, Lincoln Hawk. He is a big rig driver, a trucker, and he has a son, Michael Cutler, David Mendenhall's character, and a wife, or possibly a estranged wife, or possibly an ex-wife, Christina Hawk, Susan Blakely. He has not seen his wife and son since his son was born, or maybe before he was born. They're, separated, whatever. Her dad is Robert Loggia, super rich dude. He doesn't want Sylvester Stallone to have anything to do with the kid, right? Okay. So Sylvester Stallone, the movie picks up. The kid is graduating from military school. He's like 12 years old. He is the most polite little smart aleck, little snarky little turd you've ever met in the first 20 minutes of the movie. Stallone picks him up in his beat up old big rig, and they're going to go drive across country back to Beverly Hills where his mom is. His mom's super sick. She needs heart surgery of some sort. I kind of glossed over that, or maybe the movie glossed over. I don't know. Anyway, kid was supposed to fly home with his granddad, but he ends up driving home with his dad over his granddad's against his granddad's wishes. So Stallone's trying to make up for lost time during this cross-country trek. He teaches the kid about bodybuilding because for some reason this dude has some lat pull-down machine built into the cab of his truck. I don't know. He teaches the kid the value of hard work because the kid's, he's rich family. He's never had to do anything for himself. Stallone's a trucker. He's had to work hard his whole life. So he's teaching the kid the value of hard work. And along the way, you find out that Stallone is also a arm wrestler, and he is on his way to Las Vegas for the over-the-top arm wrestling championship. And so they play around, and they go to a couple of dive bars, and Stallone hustles some people for some money doing arm wrestling challenges. He eventually gets the kid and teaches him how to do some arm wrestling. The kid realizes that, oh yeah, I've got the potential to actually do stuff on my own. It's heartwarming. Yada, yada, yada. They finally get to the hospital where the mom is and find out that she had just passed away earlier or the day before or something. So the kid gets ticked off at Stallone because if they hadn't taken all the time doing all these dive bars and arm wrestling random bar flies, they could have made it in time, right? Okay. Sad. Gotcha. They had the funeral. It's really sad. And then the kid goes home with the grandpa. Stallone tries to get in to see the kid. They won't let him in. So Stallone does what any normal, sane person would do. And he crashes his big rig through the gate, the fountain, and then the front door of the mansion. Right? That's what you would do, right? Anyway, so the cops are called. Oddly enough, Stallone gets locked up. And they basically, Robert Loggia's secretary comes to Stallone in jail and says, basically, look, we'll drop the charges if you agree never to try and see your kid again. Stallone says, I want to talk to my kid. And the kid's like, look, I can't tell you I don't want to go with you, but at the same time, I know I have a home here. And so Stallone reluctantly agrees he won't try and keep the kid. So the kid goes to live with his granddad, where he's got a nice, fancy Beverly Hills house and plenty of money and probably servants and other stuff. So Stallone gets back in his truck and he continues on to Las Vegas to the arm wrestling championships over the top. And when he gets to Las Vegas, he sells his big rig for $7,000 and uses that money to place on himself to win, because that's what you do. And then you get about 30 minutes of montage of all these humongous jack dudes and ladies just arm wrestling the snot out of each other. One dude's arm gets broken, which find out that was unintentional and actually happened during filming. So they was like, yeah, just leave it in. It looks great. All right. And then Stallone, of course, makes it to the finals. All the while this is going on, the kid is at the Beverly Hills house, and he starts going through his mom's stuff, and he finds all of these letters that his dad had written him over the years that he was never allowed to see for, I don't know why, what happened there. Again, either the movie glossed over it or I did. I don't know. It's not really important to the movie, so there you go. So anyway, so the kid's like, oh, I really do love my dad and really do want to be with him. So the kid steals a truck because, you know, what 12-year-old wouldn't want to steal a 4Runner, and leaves, drives the truck to the airport, gets on a plane. He's 12. I don't know. This is pre 9/11, you guys. This is 1987. You know, it happens. 12-year-olds just get on planes. Anyway, he gets on a plane, flies to Las Vegas, gets to Vegas, gets a car. I think he hired a limo or something. He's 12 years old. He got an Amex? What's going on here? Anyway, he manages to get to the arm wrestling competition about the time his dad has made it to right before the finals, right? So he's watching him in the semifinals, and then during the break between the semifinals and the finals, he runs up to him and they have a beautiful heart-to-heart session. It's, you know, it's wonderful and in feelings and all this stuff, and tells him that he really wants to live with him, you know, whatever. Anyway, so then the finals happen, and of course Stallone wins his first match, and this other dude, Bull, wins his first match. I did forget to tell you this because my brain's addled. Bull actually showed up during the earlier part of the movie in just one of the random bars and challenged Stallone to an arm wrestling competition. They didn't do it there. Anyway, so supposedly Bull is a 5-time champion. He's never been beaten before in the last 5 years, at least, whatever. So it comes down to confrontation between them two, and which, you know, this humongous, tense standoff, and they arm wrestling, and they back, and they forth, and they back, and they forth, and eventually Stallone wins because the good guy's supposed to win, right? It ain't Rocky, it's over the top. So anyway, Stallone wins the match, and the top prize is like, I think $100,000 and a brand new Volvo big rig, which is good because he just sold his big rig. Cool. So then they win, they celebrate. Kid's been held up by Stallone, and then the kid holds up Stallone's trophy for him, and everybody's happy and everybody's cheering. The grandfather's there, and he's like he's realized, you know, he's grown as an individual, and he realized that Stallone actually is a pretty good dude and a pretty good dad. You know, it's Hollywood heartwarming, right? So the last thing you see is they're shaking hands and leaving, and they go out, and Stallone and his kid get in the brand new big rig and start taking off down the highway. They're going to start a new company together. Keep in mind, this kid is still 12 years old. You can't homeschool via Starlink because it's 1987. That don't happen now. I don't know how this kid's going to graduate, or maybe he's just going to get a GED. I don't know. But it's not important to the story. Anyway, that's the story of the movie. It's a pretty simple movie because it's an action movie. You don't need a lot of story. What I found interesting as I was looking into this is more of the behind the scenes. So to promote this movie, Canon Films, they got a couple people, including this lady named Lori. I didn't write it down, so I'm going to say Chandler, but I might be wrong. I apologize. Should have wrote it down. Didn't. She was a ranked arm wrestling champion. Anyway, they got together, and they were going to put on some like small arm wrestling contests here and there. And eventually it blew up, and it actually became the real over-the-top arm wrestling championship. They had open invitationals in Las Vegas, or in California, I think. And then across the U.S., they had some in London, Tokyo, like all over the world. Everywhere that Canon Films had offices is what it ended up. They had all these open invitationals. And then in the finale, the final part, all of the winners from all of these open invitationals came to Las Vegas, and they had like this 18-hour-long marathon arm wrestling championship. It was like apparently like 8 or 9 different matches going on at one time. It was double elimination, so you had to get pinned twice to lose. Just this massive thing. And what they did for the film, if you actually watch it, any of the filming of the arm wrestling montages that don't include like Stallone or Rick Zumwalt, that's the actual over-the-top arm wrestling championship that happened. And then the next day, after they had championship, they went back in with Stallone and Zumwalt and the other actors, and they filmed their scenes. And the crowd that was there for the championship got brought it back as the extras for the scenes. So if you're watching it and it's not the main characters, These are legitimate arm wrestling champion badasses, which is pretty cool. And so the actual championship, the real over the top championship, there was 2 weight classes for women. It was under 135 and over 135. And then for men, there was like 5 different levels, depending on weight class. I don't remember how they all broke down. But anyway, there was 3 different divisions. You had the military division that was open to all members of the military, any branch. They had the professional division for, oddly enough, professional arm wrestlers. And then you had the trucker/teamster division. And so that was what, in the movie and in real life, that was the main character. He was in the trucker/teamster division. So the dude that won it in real life, that this story was based on, he was not a trucker, but he was part of the Teamsters because he worked for Delta. Yeah. And he actually won a big rig and toured it around the country. Sold it off later and bought a Corvette because that's what you do. But anyway, in the movie, Stallone, he is a trucker. And so he was in the trucker/teamster division. And that was the grand prize, was cash prize plus this really souped up Volvo big rig. It's pretty cool. The big rig's still around in real life. Actually, I think went up for sale back about 5 or 6 years ago, or maybe less. I don't know. Anyway, so it was pretty neat. I thought it was a pretty cool backstory that this movie spawned an actual arm wrestling championship. And yeah, again, like I said, a lot of the people that you see in there that are doing arm wrestling are legitimate arm wrestling stars or stars of that particular sport. Oh, it was interesting. Anyway, so that's my take on Over the Top. That's going to do it for this episode. If you enjoyed this, make sure you hit like, subscribe, hit the bell, leave a comment, tell some people about it. I do have just a couple more movies to go in the Canon box set. Once I get through with that Canon box set, I don't know where I'm going to go next. If you've seen some of this other stuff, I don't review new movies. Sometimes I might mention them in passing. Hey, this was good. Hey, this wasn't good. I like reviewing the old stuff. Partly because it's movies that I grew up with that I have a super fondness for, and partly because I've got a niece and nephews, 2 nephews that are growing up now, and they're not getting to see awesome cinema like this. They're getting crap like Madam Web. And, I don't know. I haven't seen Madam Web. It might be good. I don't know. Anyway, so I don't know where I'll go after this. I do have a few other movies that I want to try and review, but let me finish this Canon box set. I'll try and get it done. That's going to do it for this episode. May the force be with you.